All right, A's and F's.
Interesting.
Travis Henry is having trouble making his child support payments. Given that the economy has hit everyone hard, I might feel for the guy. Except that he is a former NFL running back whose last contract was for $25 million, and that he has 9 children by 9 different mothers at the age of 30. Given all the focus on Octomom, it's only fitting, I think, that we give a big fat F to Nano Dad.
I hate following your F's. On the top of my academic pointy head is the color of gray. On the front page of the New York Times this week was one of the dumbest stories I've seen in a long time. Obama is apparently getting gray hair after only a couple of weeks on the job, and the Times, not knowing what it was talking about, said that that was due to stress. Well, it corrected itself in the Science Times a couple of days later that we really don't know why gray hair falls on so young a person's pointy head. But another dumb story along with how to dribble a basketball that's on the front page of the New York Times.
And how to shoot free throws.
I sit corrected.
Right. I read these dumb stories.
I'm giving an F to the proponents of the Child Victims Act, which would allow the revival for 1 year of hundreds of claims of sexual abuse against the Catholic Church. Most of those claimants failed to file claims before the statute of limitations was over. Unfortunately, these claims will not ease anyone's pain, but it will hurt those tithing parishioners who support the church. This is the type of tort reform we don't need.
And I'm giving an F to diminishing and increasingly shallow coverage of gun violence. We've heard in the news this week and last week several instances of terrible gun massacres, and the coverage, I think, has been increasingly put to the back pages of newspapers, yet the story is no less important. Guns are not the only cause of violence by any means, but guns facilitate violence. Have you ever heard of a drive-by knifing? We need to spend more time talking about the relationship between guns and crime.
I have to give an F to President Obama for not vetoing this $410 billion budget bill that he signed quietly and secretly a couple of days ago. The one with the $3.8 billion in earmarks in it. I have a couple of Republican friends at Gold's Gym who, after many, many months, I've convinced to give Obama a chance. And they're pretty disappointed that he's been talking the talk about earmarks, and now he had a chance to walk the walk. I think this was the point at which he should have put Pelosi and Reid on notice that it's not business as usual anymore, and he should have vetoed this bill, and this was a real missed opportunity. A's?
Amen. An A to Mello Testa. He's on Oneida County's Director of Purchasing, and he's made $1 million for the county, which is 3 to 4% of the property tax rate, by auctioning off surplus property, things like old jury box chairs, typewriters, refrigerators, seized motorcycles, things like that, on eBay. I commend his creativity and initiative.
I want to give an A to Nancy Duffy. This is the time of year when you remember one of the classier people in media. I've known a lot of people in local media over the years, and it was always a pleasure to have a cup of coffee with Nancy and her civic mindedness. Watch out because there's going to be a green line painted down the middle of the street in Syracuse for some strange reason going on tomorrow.
I'm giving an A to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. They just opened the New Village Leadership Academy, which will teach children from pre-K through grade 6, and they will be educated using the instructional methods of Scientology. So I wish them good luck.
In an ingenious tweak to Chinese internet censorship, I'm giving an A to a Chinese webpage that posted a children's song about an imaginary creature called a grass mud horse, which, if you translate into Chinese, sounds like an extremely obscene act. And I had to scour the internet to find the translation, which I eventually found, but will not repeat.
I knew you would.
on this occasion. And it underscores the difficulty of censorship on the internet and the foolishness of the Chinese government's continuing efforts to try and regulate internet trafficking. It was really a very interesting and brilliant story. Look it up for yourself.
And just so I heard you right, you talked about the educational methods of the Scientologists?
That's, according to them, that's what this school is going to utilize.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give a double A. First to the SU basketball team for having won a game last night against hated rival Connecticut and their coach Jim Calhoun in 6 overtimes, 127 to 117, one of the longest game ever in the history of Big East tournament competition. And then to the Syracuse Post-Standard for managing to get it in the headline on my doorstep this morning at 6 in the morning when the game didn't end until 1:25. There's still some life in that old newspaper technology, right? Excuse me. All right. Thanks to you at home for joining us this evening. Please send your comments to the Ivory Tower Half Hour, Post Office Box 2400, Syracuse 13220, or email us at ivorytower@wcny.org. This is David Rubin saying, keep debate alive, watch SU tonight, and we will be here next week.